Yield back. Now recognize Mr. Larsen.
Thank you, Chair. Mr. Chair, I support the amendment in the nature of a substitute for H.R. 7659, the Coast Guard Authorization Act of 2024. The bipartisan legislation to reauthorize funding for the U.S. Coast Guard for fiscal years 25 and 26, and to update Coast Guard programs and policies. This bill builds upon the already strong Coast Guard Authorization Act reported last year and is a result of bipartisan negotiations with the chair of the full committee and subcommittee and the ranking member of the subcommittee. Each of their thoughtful contributions have improved the bill and are appreciated. We've incorporated several committee member priorities from both sides of the aisle, and I want to thank those members as well for their contributions. The Coast Guard continues to suffer from insufficient funding. This has resulted in a $3 billion shoreside infrastructure backlog, insufficient icebreaking capacity in the Arctic and Great Lakes, as well as reduced capability across several essential missions such as marine safety and oil spill response. A few months ago, the Coast Guard alerted Congress it has a workforce shortage of 10%, which has reduced or eliminated Coast Guard services at more than 40 stations across the country. H.R. 7659 starts to address these problems. The legislation provides $14.8 billion for the Coast Guard for fiscal year 25 and $15.5 billion for fiscal year 26. These increases will ensure the service has the resources needed to take care of its service members and enhance their ability to operate new assets that are expected to come online in the coming years. I'm pleased as well that this legislation includes the Coast Guard Protection and Accountability Act. This legislation will strengthen protections for members of the Coast Guard from sexual assault and harassment while strengthening congressional oversight and transparency within the service. The Coast Guard must do better to protect coasties from assault and harassment. Last Congress, this committee passed substantial measures to increase vessel safety, and H.R. 7659 builds upon that work by addressing safety risks on vessels and increasing the penalties for negligent operations. The bill also includes provisions to improve oil spill prevention by bolstering vessel response plans and accountability. Lastly, H.R. 7659 includes vital provisions to begin to address the mariner shortage. The current mariner credentialing program, which the Coast Guard oversees, is an outdated system that depends on paper applications. Processing delays impact both existing and new mariners looking to enter the industry. I appreciate Chairman Graves working with me to include an authorization of $17 million for a new electronic credentialing system. This, coupled with other provisions, will begin to address the mariner shortage. In closing, I again want to thank the Chair Graves, as well as the Coast Guard Subcommittee Chair Webster and Ranking Member Carbajal for their cooperation in drafting this important legislation. Look forward to our continued collaboration as this legislation moves forward. And with that, I yield back.
I now recognize